What transaction structures do you see most commonly? Seller notes, contingent seller notes, stock purchase with rolled equity, combo of those. So the typical of what we see is cash down, either bank funded or buyer provided. Well, it depends on that. We may see something with no cash down because that's maybe a very personal referral driven, higher transition risk type practice that the buyer is only going to offer a performance-based structure like a variable seller note or like an earn-out contingency, those type of things, or a combo of those. Again, where you have firms that have more stable marketing, intake, revenues, you see that down payment kind of inch up. We've had 100% cash at closing. It's not typical. Most typical is where on that cash down does it kind of lie based on the firm structure and everything else. We typically try to get to a place with good firms that have good firm brand, business systems, everything else, that we're at least looking at 50% down, and the other 50% can be performance-based. So if you've agreed the value of the firm's $5 million and you're putting 2.5 down, the belief is even under transition or otherwise, you're not losing that 2.5, but the performance can be there, right, under a variable seller note, basically a payment structure that is tied to performance of revenues after closing to keep the seller or the sellers, if there's multiple owners, focused on transition, making sure they're introducing clients, referral sources, everything else. And it kind of gives the buyer a kind of a hedge to the risk of purchase to kind of do that and everything else. Bank funding is SBA loans. They work better. They're a 10-year term. So in a lot of those deals, it's just sometimes better to do, a full SBA loan and then maybe escrow for a year or so based on performance and kind of making sure those contingencies are there. But those usually just are better from a financial structure, like they make the deals work better and give the buyer more breathing room instead of paying a high percentage earnout or otherwise. So there's lots of ways and there's combos, but usually we have a down payment somewhere between, I'd say on average, it's 20%, 25% for small firms, and then kind of goes up from there for more dynamic and everything.